Today in the crypto space, we see a bit of green throughout the market. Bitcoin bouncing up to about $30,000 and Ethereum at around $2,000, give or take. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, are pretty much waiting for Bitcoin to make some critical decisions. Are we going to get a fat bounce to the upside, or are we going to about time come down to those lower levels so that we can buy the dip? Right now, we have some good gainers throughout the altcoin market: XRP, XLM, Kaspa, and many, many more. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to talk about the overall Bitcoin price to see if we can use it as a leading indicator. But more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin that has been talked about quite a bit in the last little while, and that project is called Myria. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, you can definitely hit me up in the comment section below. Follow me on those socials. You can hit me up over there as well. Join the Discord group. It's a great place, great community where we can share alpha, share ideas, trade setups, and so much more. So make sure you go check that out. All right, guys. Let's see what's happening here with this market. Currently, Bitcoin still going sideways, however, showing a bit of strength at the bottom of the range. We're still very range bound, so that's something that we have to be aware of, is that Bitcoin is showing us a range, and right now we're at the bottom of the range and potentially looking for a bit of a bounce at these bottom range levels. Ethereum as well, very similar price action, however, showing a little bit more strength than Bitcoin. Nothing significant, where a lot of us are waiting for that altcoin season. Ethereum could be giving us that indication very soon, so let's make sure that we pay attention to the altcoin market, Bitcoin dominance, and all that kind of stuff. Of course, join me live at 7:30, and we'll definitely look at all the projects that you're interested in. It's a great time and place for you to do any of those requests. And let's continue here. We see XRP showing a bit of strength, up 6%, 70% in the last 7 days. XRP basically holding up the market currently. We have some good price action with some of these altcoins, but generally speaking, they're still kind of sideways. Like even Cardano up being 4% and Solana being up also about 4% is great, no doubt. But generally speaking, it's still within a range. It's still very sideways. It's still very accumulative looking. And at the end of the day, I am interested in accumulating, but I want to see where Bitcoin is going. Currently, Bitcoin is holding at very critical levels of support. If it doesn't hold the support, if it decides to come down, we're going to see a lot of these altcoins continuing to grind to the downside. And that is when I'll be ready, really actively buying the dip and accumulating. Right now, I'm just being very hesitant, as I have been accumulating in the last little while, but I want to make sure that I accumulate at lower lows. And if it happens, I want to be prepared. Filecoin is coming down. I'm interested in Filecoin. It is a larger cap altcoin, so I have to understand that the volatility is not going to be as strong as getting into a mid cap or a low cap altcoin, but I'm still very interested, right? Arbitrum, obviously larger cap, interested in your protocol, took a bit of a beating, but still up 10% in the last 7 days. So I'm interested and I'm still accumulating on some of these alts, some of these layer ones. Optimism looking pretty strong right now. You got to admit, 23% to the upside, and right now looking to break out of that range, guys. Look at Optimism, because it could be looking like a breakout any moment. Guys, I plan on looking at Optimism live tonight, so I'm going to put it on the list. Let's start a list going, and obviously I'm going to put the ones that you request in priority. But right now, at the top of the list, I'm finding Optimism to be the best setup that I've seen in the last little while, because range-bound price action at the top of the range, looking for a continuation to the upside, is something that I'm interested in. But we have to be prepared that, on the 7-day, on a big picture, that we have already rallied up double digits. We're already rallied up 23%. So have a plan to take profits, but at the same time, have a plan to get into a bullish stance when it's appropriate. Let's wait for those momentum oscillators to give us a signal, to give us some bullish divergence, to get oversold, and then we'll go long again. I'm going to take a look at Optimism tonight at 7:30. Feel free to join, guys. Feel free to join. Okay, let's let's continue here. We see Maker getting a bit of a bounce again. A lot of these altcoins, in fact, are doing pretty good. BitDAO showing strength, up 20% in the last 7 days. Sideways, tons of sideways action throughout the market. Phantom grinding to the downside, still bleeding out a bit. Render also bleeding out a bit. Let it bleed, let it come down. We're not going to buy tops. We're not going to rush into this right now. Render's at $1.88. I want to start thinking about buying Render at about $1.50. I'm just going to think about it. I'm not going to act. And of course, expect an update on Render when I do plan on scaling in bit by bit. And you know, my DCA basically my DCA strategy is about going in nice and slowly just to mitigate that risk. Nobody knows where the bottom is, and this is why you kind of have to take it easy here when you start DCAing, especially in a bear market. With the trend, there's no clear trend. Right now, a lot of these altcoins are going sideways, so we have time. Don't worry, we have time. We'll come down to lower levels, accumulate in preparation for the real bull run where we see some really melting faces type of price action. That's what we really want to see, and Caspa has been doing it, to be honest. Up 11% in 24 hours, looking pretty strong. 37% in 7 days, guys. The party is gonna have to end one day. You know how bullish I am on Caspa. Right now I am a Caspa bull. I love Caspa. I want to buy more, and I want to pack it big. I want to have Caspa being the biggest bag in my portfolio. However, guys, I have to be real about scenarios. And on the channel, you can guarantee I will definitely do my best to give you a very unbiased approach. And right now, Caspa, in my opinion, is definitely in a scenario where a retracement is due. So if you get in now in a fresh long, you're asking for trouble in the short term. You're asking for a pullback. You're asking to get into a negative position that this thing might roll over any moment and use you as exit liquidity, especially looking at lower term timeframes, 4-hour timeframes. Eventually, these double tops or these higher highs are going to turn into a bearish divergence at critical levels of resistance, which I believe that we've already been hitting, and we're at that level, guys. So be careful here for a rollover. Anticipate a rollover any moment. If you want to get into a short-term spot position, wait for a rollover. If you want to hold for the next 1.5 to 2 years, 3 years, guys, at the end of the day, buying in right now is okay, but you just have to be able to weather the storm if we do get that retracement, and a retracement could be deep. When the price action rallies up really strong, we can get a 65% retracement from the top, a 78% retracement from the top, an 88% retracement from the top, and those retracements hurt, right? So be careful here, guys, and I'll definitely keep you up to date with what I'm doing when I'm buying the dip on Caspa. I might not even take any profits here and weather the storm to the retracement to the downside, and I really don't care because I'm so bullish that I know that Caspa eventually is going to hit those targets. This is why I have two portfolios, one long-term spot, one short-term spot, and one trading with a leverage account, right? So right now I'm talking about my short-term spot. I feel like I should be taking profits, but I'm very hesitant here because Caspa has been showing so much strength that I don't want to miss out. And guys, it sounds like I'm talking emotional here, and it is about emotion. I'll tell you the truth, I don't want to, but it might be the case where as soon as I start to see indications of a reversal, I'm going to have to, because my trading strategies suggest that I need to protect my gains as well as my initial investment. And my gains right now are really good, and I don't want to give them back to the market. So keep an update. I'll give you an update. Join live, and I'll give you updates throughout the day, every day on Caspa. I'm live 6 evenings a week talking about crypto news and price action. Feel free to join. Let's continue. BitGet coming down. I'm interested in some centralized exchanges. In fact, I've been getting emails and correspondence from L Bank and many other exchanges. There's a lot of exchanges right now, trying to go in, trying to get active in the community, trying to get some of the liquidity into their exchange. And of course, they're offering affiliate programs, and they're offering all kinds of marketing strategies to get in on the market. Right now, it's about looking at diversification. We know that Binance is the top dog, Coinbase and all of that. But we are very aware that we need to diversify that power, right? We need to get a little bit more, exchanges up in there so that we can, spread out the strength and spread out the risk and spread out everything in this case so that we can have healthy competition. I'm liking BitGet. Of course. I'm rooting for all exchanges, small or big, to kind of push forward and make a very healthy ecosystem and environment for traders. But nonetheless, BitGet, I wouldn't mind scaling in just a bit. Gala looking okay, sideways, a lot of sideways price action. Radix coming down, nothing that interesting. Flex looking good. Okay, Flex coin up 37% in the last 24 hours. What a beast, looking good. Not time to go long for sure. Its market cap is definitely climbing to higher levels. I feel like, it's like, you missed the train. Don't start trying to jump on a moving train, guys. You're gonna get wrecked. Right now this thing is moving, so let it move, let it go. We'll buy on a retracement, and if you miss it and the train keeps on going, so be it. It's better opportunities to come very, very soon. Okay, we're gonna see a lot of altcoins coming around, and that's when you start scaling in. Mina protocol grinding to the downside. Be careful there, because we could be coming down for a little bit more and then getting a nice bounce. So have a plan to DCA. And Rollbit is another one that is kind of waking up in the last little while. 100% in 7 days. Bullish, but I have no idea what it's about. Obviously, the crypto space is always giving you opportunities to learn and giving you homework on a daily basis. Guys, be fundamentally bullish before you scale into any of these projects. It's very important to know what the project is about before you get in, so that you're strong, you're convicted, and when you see red days, you're holding strong, and in fact, you're buying dips. Okay, guys, let's look at a Bitcoin, get into charts here, because I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's take a look at what Bitcoin's doing, and then we'll get into the project of the day, which is Myria. I feel like at the end of the day, we need to pay attention to Bitcoin. Bitcoin came down to the bottom of the range, as we suggested. We hit our bearish price target multiple times. I'm leaving this trade setup in here because of my bias is still here. If we come right back up, we can short it again. We had opportunities to short Bitcoin within this range at least 3 times, and here we are at the bottom of the range, desperately trying to hold up for some support. I do feel like this could be playing out to be a big distribution phase, where we see Bitcoin eventually, kind of exiting a lot of the positions that people went long in and taking profits and all that good stuff. And at the end of the day, when that happens, we eventually should see a rollover, and we could be buying the dips at lower levels. Okay, guys, so I'm going to give you a quick update here with regards to Bitcoin. We're not going to get into too much detail, but nonetheless, it's good to kind of keep an eye, because if Bitcoin does come down, you know what I got to say, altcoins will come down. On the daily, we're testing the lower ranges. The momentum is slowly coming to the downside. Look at the MACD facing down. EMAs and histogram bars are deep in the red. The RSI is getting a slow grind to the downside. We're hitting that 50% mark on the RSI, which means that we can go choppy for the next little while. And you're probably thinking, but Mike, we've been choppy for months. Well, guess what? We're going to get into a very, very confirmed choppy zone on the RSI, which is on the 50% mark. So let's see what happens here. After the 50% mark, we break through and we get to lower levels. We can finally get that impulse and maybe touch this 200 daily EMA at about 27,000 once again, guys. And if it does happen, expect altcoins to get into a bit of a fire sale. And of course, I'll be scaling in. Let's get into the look at the 4 hour. What's happening here? Nothing really, just choppy price action sideways. Bart Simpson style retracement is very, very due. Okay, so it could be very possible that we get a real retracement down here and then get a nice back test to the upside again, and then finally roll over. That's very, very typical for the market to do. Hunt some liquidity at lower levels, or even get some more bullish bids to see if in fact there's enough bulls to break through this area of resistance. Let's see what happens here. We're going to be following the wake off to see if it actually plays out. It is super early. Yesterday we talked about the potential wake off, and then all of a sudden tons of socials are talking about it. But you can see it's very possible that we're beginning or entering this potential distribution phase, the wake off distribution. And of course, if that happens, we're gonna have some time at this level. We're gonna have to go range bound for a little while. But you know what's gonna happen when Bitcoin goes range bound at this level? Altcoins might have their season, and then of course we'll see altcoins catch up to Bitcoin. We'll basically take profits on our altcoins, and then we'll wait for a dip to reaccumulate for the next bull run. I feel like we have tons of time to make some good trades in between so that we can pack a fatter bag for the bull run. All right, guys, let's take a look at Myria, the project for today. Of course, a lot of people are talking about it, but I got to be really, really clear with you. Price action wise, it's not good. Okay, it is not good. Project wise, fundamentals, all that good stuff. It is part of the a narrative that is bullish. Let's quickly go look at the overall project and see what we can find here on CoinGecko. Myria It is due for a deep dive. I gotta admit, I gotta do my due diligence and get into a deep dive. I do release deep dives on Sunday, so stay tuned. I'm hoping to get one done by this Sunday. I'll be traveling once again, guys, just to let you know. So feel comfortable and on the Discord. I'll keep in touch with you guys on the Discord. But nonetheless, I want to get into a deep dive on one of these projects. Feel free to chime in and request a deep dive. And based on a popular demand, I will definitely look into that project. But Myria right now is one of those top projects that have been requested and talked about significantly. And what is the narrative? We can probably get down to this level right here where you see the tags. Where's the tags? Usually we get tags here at the bottom and nothing really right now there, but we usually get some sort of tags that kind of give you an indication of what type of project it is. If we go to the website, right, Myria is definitely pretty cool. You got to admit, project wise, fundamentally an asset, a rare asset to your Myria wallet. So mint ultra rare assets. It's an NFT play, but it's for gaming. Okay, it's a gaming narrative, and it's about taking custody of your in-game assets, and I think that's a very bullish narrative coming around in the next bull run. So keep an eye on it. Do your fundamental research. Of course, stay tuned for that deep dive. Let's look at these price action for a second. The price action is definitely looking very, very negative. A lot of sell pressure. Now, why is this sell pressure coming in? This is something that we need to know. Now, is it because of token unlocks? Is it about the token distribution? What is the negativity all about? Is there fundamentally something wrong with the team and all of that stuff? You got to look into it, guys. Out here on this video, I am not getting into that. What I'm looking at is price action right now, because I feel that price action can tell you quite a bit about what you should be doing in the immediate short term. And it's forward thinking. Price action is forward thinking. A lot of the times we see the price move first, and then you get the announcements, and then you get all the FUD or the positivity or whatever the case may be. So right now, what I'm looking at here is pure price action, and this thing has not yet found a bottom. Okay, so I know there's a lot of bullishness. A lot of people are saying Myria is great and they want in and they're gonna buy the dip, and I bet you nobody's buying the dip, and if you are, you're taking a bit of risk. Okay, let's look here on the daily. What I can see, there's not much. It's a new project. The invisible hand is trying to find a happy medium, a happy price, an overall, let's call it a a price that the overall market respects. And right now it hasn't found that. We haven't found a nice bottom. We are still within a trend of creating lower lows and lower highs. And the trend is your friend until the end. We have a couple of indications that could suggest that maybe little by little we are getting into a bottom state. The only thing that I can use currently is, number one, we have the potential bullish divergence here. We can see that price action as it is coming down. Okay, just be very careful with Myria. I know this is not a very typical video of mine. I usually get into projects that have a lot of good fundamentals, but I'm coming out with this video just because I'm hearing a lot of people talking about it, and I want to make sure that these new retailers that are coming into crypto, if you're new to crypto, you understand what you're getting into here. Crypto could be risky if you don't have a plan and if you don't have a strategy, and my intention here is to equip you with some of the knowledge to come up with your own strategy. Okay, we can see here that we're downward sloping. The price action is coming down, but the RSI, did bottom out here in oversold conditions, but we can see that over time, as the price is coming down, the RSI is not getting much of a hit to the downside, which means that the momentum oscillator, which is the RSI in this case that we're talking about, is not as negative as it should in comparison to the price. So this could be the beginning of potential bullish divergence at the bottom of the range, because the momentum did bottom out here for a little while, which is a good positive scenario. Now, is this enough to get into a long trade? Some may argue yes, and the only way that you could do or basically argue going into a long position right now, even if it's on spot, no leverage on spot, is if you're willing to DCA very, very slowly. That way you can mitigate your risk through position size. What I'm saying here is go in with a tad. If it does come down lower, you're DCAing a lot heavier, doubling up, tripling down, and getting your average cost down as it comes down, as the price comes down as well. That way you're not basically getting into a risky position. If you go all in right now, we don't know if we're going to get a further continuation to the downside. and eventually you may get wrecked. So this is something to kind of anticipate. Position size is one of the most overlooked ways of mitigating risk, especially in a new investment with very little price action looking left, okay? So this is what we're looking at. Downward sloping price action, maybe not confirmed yet, a bullish divergence, an upward sloping type of bullish divergence on the RSI, okay? The MACD, on the other hand, we're getting an EMA cross that is, EMAs are crossed to the downside, facing down, but the histogram bars are nice and red and the EMAs are facing down. So what we're looking at is a potential beginning, maybe very soon, a rollover to the upside, but nothing just yet. We got to be very, very patient here for the MACD. Yes, it's a lagging indicator. It's a lot more lagging than the RSI. So we got to understand that it's going to take time to reflect the price action. But nonetheless, we got pale red histogram bars that could mean that, you know, we are due for a bit of a rollover, but nothing confirmed yet here on the MACD on the daily. Okay. Now let's do one more tool that we could use here in these circumstances where we don't have much price action, is using Fibonacci extension levels, swing low to swing high, and then we can kind of say, you know what, did we hit the 1.618 or the 1.27? Those two zones on the Fibonacci extensions are critical levels of resistance or support using Fibonacci theory. And I like the fact that currently we are hitting the 1.27 extension. Now, this trend line, I'm very compelled to make it basically a spider line. Let's do that because it's not confirmed. This is not a trend. This is just touches on a trend line. When to confirm a trend, we need at least 3 touches. Is this a touch? Maybe. Is this a touch? Yes. Is this a touch? We don't know yet. Right? We were touching it, but are we going to break right through it? So maybe not a trend. Take it very, very lightly. It could be a trend, but we are hitting 1.27 extension level at a potential trend line. Potential. That's all it is. Now, what about if we actually start looking at it like, you know, maybe we're creating a wedge? And the fact is that we don't have much price action either to look at this as a wedge, but we can kind of say, okay, we can connect these two tops, which look okay, and I'm going to leave it as a spider line. And this is a very, very viable scenario. And even in this scenario, okay, we could still come down to the golden pocket 1.618 extension level. Okay, which is at about 0.000966, so the 966 zone here on the price action on Myria. So maybe a bit of a bounce, come up and then come right back down. Okay, trend is your friend until the end. And right now the trend, the only real trend that could potentially be a trend is this spider line at the top. We need to break this trend, show signs of break of structure, because first is the trend, then is the structure, but ultimately we need to see signs of bullish divergence. Right now we're getting a bit on the daily, like I mentioned, and nothing really actionable yet. So right now my 2 buy orders would be interested. I would be interested in buying right now at the 1.27, and then if we came down to the 1.618 extension. Okay, so I'm going to put some red arrows and then we'll get into the 4 hour to kind of confirm and see if there's any confluence with this setup, because of course the daily is going to give you a lot of messages. Right now, this is okay if you want to get in slowly, understanding and assuming that the risk is that the trend is to the downside still, that we need a break of trend and a break of structure to give us a confirmation that the price action is now creating higher highs and higher lows. We need a higher high or a higher low. One or the other is going to start to give us a bit of an indication that there could be a pivot point. So for example, let's kind of get our pen mark here on the daily. Let's say we get a nice bounce here. We come up to this level. We got some decisions to make. Are we going to break above and break trend? Fine. Now we're going to break trend. Let's say we break trend. We get to this level. Are we going to make a higher high? If we don't and we double top, guys, we could get rejected and come right back down. But now is an opportunity for us to get a higher low. If we get that higher low right about here, using the previous price action as support and the volume gap below, you can see that we could get some support potentially and call it a back test of the breakout. You can see that spider line and get some support. Then we're back up. We get a little bit of a bounce. We're back up to the neckline of this inverse head and shoulder, and then we're up to the races, off to the races to the higher levels. Okay, this is a viable option here. Now, what about if we do come up and get rejected? Guys, we can come down to the golden pocket 618, and then we're going to repeat the same scenario down here, looking for a breakout, looking for a higher high, looking for a back test, looking for that confirmation low, looking for bullish divergence, and all the rest. So right now, this is still an option, but we got to see if we're actually going to break out. Getting in long right now, trailing up a stop loss and letting it see if it breaks out is not a bad idea. The only way I'm going to go in long right now is in the 4 hour. Let's go check that out. and it would be a short-term scenario, protecting myself and turning this short-term scalp into a long-term swing trade by trailing up that stop loss to see if we actually break out, like I'm suggesting here, if it happens, right? We came into an oversold scenario, not extreme oversold conditions, fine, but it is, you know, peaking a couple of times here on the RSI in oversold scenarios. And it, to be honest, in the past, it really didn't even get to oversold and overbought conditions with some strength anyway. So maybe the volume profile or even the momentum profile, it's not in it just yet to see that type of volatility. So we could get into lower time frames. I'm not that interested. The 4 hours where I like to be, and the daily. So right now we can see that we're somewhat prepared for a bit of a bounce, even looking at the type of relative strength index profile that we've had in the past suggests that maybe we have bottomed out here. So taking a bit of risk is not a bad idea here, assuming that we're looking for upwards momentum to change in the immediate short term. Price action is coming down. Well, the RSI is definitely bottomed out here for the last little while, and perhaps even upward sloping based on this right here, 1 and 2. These are upward sloping, while the price 1 and 2 is downward sloping. Okay, so there's class A bullish divergence here on the 4-hour time frame. So for me, that is indicative of a potential reversal. So be prepared. Now, there could be a couple of drives of bullish divergence before we actually get a bounce. Sometimes it doesn't happen in two shots. It could happen in 3. Another dip to lower levels and get a third drive to the downside while still maintaining this bullish divergence. It's just the beginning, okay? What you really want to look at is this trend. Now, we do have a strong trend here. Couple of touches, right? Many touches. If we break this trend, we come back down and back test, get a confirmation low, a higher low, this zone would be the place to actually start scaling in as a confirmation. We see the MACD. Look at that. EMA is facing up, green histogram bars to the upside, looking for a potential bounce. Every time we came to this zone last time, we got a little bit of relief and we created, the price action went, or the momentum went into the bullish control zone. So looking pretty good, okay? So if you're going to get into a long position based on the 4-hour, I would be very, very quick to put a stop loss underneath a certain level to make sure that you're in profits, and understand that the level to break out of is this horizontal right here. We're looking at this horizontal is a good area of a volume gap here on the 4-hour. And I'm going to go back to the daily quick to see if there's confluence. Oh yeah, there is. Let's put our horizontals. You know me about those horizontals. The most important thing in a chart is to look for horizontal support and resistance and weak spots in the chart that we can fly right through because of lack of volume and lack of interest, which is right here. For me, this is the most important weak spot. If we break above the 1322 level, guys, we're going to snap to about the 155, which, look left, I said that we could get some support at the top of this volume gap. Okay, so this is an important zone. If you're able to scale in right here, understand that, you know, we could get a bit of resistance here as well. Take profit is not bad for a potential dip. You know, all these levels, break above this, break above that, then you're starting to look at more volume gaps. You can see there's one right here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is the responsible thing is anticipate that this is a decent zone for TP. Let me see if I can reuse some of these. There you go. Let's make it red. TP, of course, TP at these levels is great. And you're looking at percentages, decent percentages, because it is a lower cap altcoin. Let's say that you get in right around this zone on average, okay? And you get out about here. You're looking at 46% more or less. Even here, you're looking at 40%. That is a great scenario altogether. You got to look at the majority of the move. Don't look at the tips and the bottoms, the absolute bottoms and tops. Think about the majority of the move. That is a 40% move here as a potential breakout scenario if we happen to get to the top of the volume gap here on Myria. But remember, guys, remember, it is a bit risky. So let's get back into the 4-hour and see if we have some confluence. Yeah, breaking out here is not bad. We do have this zone right here, and I did put a gap in right there. So we'll drag it over a bit more so we can see it a bit better. Okay, this is the gap that I'm hoping that we can break above and get to this level, but I'm anticipating a bit of resistance right around this zone, and let's see what happens here. If we have enough volume to actually break out, great. We have this level where we're going to see some reactions, and potentially this level to see some reactions, but nonetheless, I feel like we're due for a bit of a breakout and some upwards momentum to the upside. All right, guys, thank you for stopping by. If you haven't yet, do the channel a huge favor, slap that like button. Does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the social socials. The links are in the description below. Feel free to join that Discord. The Discord is hot. Lots of good fundamentals, lots of good price action, TA, great community, trying to help each other out, getting an edge on this market. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.